Good day everyone, I am Michael, moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is the impact of new foreign suppliers, verification and third-party accreditation rules for your food safety business. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, Dr. John Wren. Dr. John Wren is the president of wrensystems.com and holds PhD in research and statistical methods. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, John.
All right, thank you, Michael, and welcome, folks. Today, we're going to spend about an hour talking about the impact of the final FSMA foreign supplier verification and third-party accreditation rules on your business. Okay, so we've got a couple of pieces here: foreign supplier verification and third-party accreditation. So the impact comes in a couple big major parts after I go through the basics, okay? The first part is the cost to your business, which are substantial. The second part comes when it comes to auditing, all right? Auditing is not as simple as it seems. A lot of you just hire an auditor and think you're done, and I'm going to go through some details on that hopefully will convince you that you need to be a little more careful. All right, so we're going to go through the preventive control rules, validation of the rules, environmental monitoring requirements, hazard analysis. We're going to go through these quickly. Review requirements for accreditation and certification bodies. Begin to bring your internal food safety systems up to date and understand FSVP and third-party accreditation reporting requirements. And we're going to talk about conflict of interest between your company and third-party bodies. That's for certification and accreditation, okay? If you're a company, you have to have good supply chain visibility. A lot more complicated than a lot of people like to think. In most cases, between the farm and the fork, we don't know where this contaminant comes from, okay? So that's why we have these things called preventive controls established by the FDA. So we set up standards for growing, harvesting, packing, and holding produce. We set up GMP, good manufacturing and hazard analysis and risk-based preventive controls. We do accreditation of these third-party certification and bodies and audit bodies to conduct audits, or maybe you do it internally. And we set up for foreign suppliers, FSVP for importers, that's your company, of these foods. We set up GMP and hazard analysis, try to focus on mitigation strategies to protect food against intentional adulteration. We have to have sanitary transportation of the food. Okay, the FSMA and the FDA have a strategy under FSMA, capacity building, training, and operational plans. That's internationally. Under FSMA, the FDA expects you to establish a risk-based preventive approach. It doesn't matter, they're going to implement, and you have private and governmental audits. So the key requirements is to establish and implement a food safety system. Section 117.405 establish a requirement to establish and implement a supply chain program. There's a difference between corrective actions and preventive actions, okay? All right, what kind of hazards do we have? Biological, chemical, physical in our processes. Here's some of them: bugs, pests, insecticides getting in the food, bacteria, and contaminated or adulterated inputs from suppliers. That's what we're talking about today. High-risk foods, what are they? The high-risk foods are more likely to cause illness, right? They have an outbreak history, and you're looking at recall records. There's a link there for you. Okay, let's go over the supply chain program, including audits. You have to be audited, so do your suppliers, and you have to make sure that they're audited. Some companies are excluded from these rules. Any food not intended for sale or distribution to the public or used for research or evaluation, these are excluded. You have to make sure that there's verification activities are conducted. So what's an approved supplier? And they follow good food safety, storage, and transportation practice. Now, all those things mean that you must use the approved suppliers. Okay, a receiving facility must approve that's you and use only approved suppliers and must establish and implement. You got to make sure there's some kind of control over it. And so does your buyers. So you need to educate those people. FSV, foreign supplier rules, importers for food for humans and animals. Food and ingredients imported for consumption in the United States must meet all U.S. food safety standards. And you have to be in compliance with FSVP requirements. Importer responsibility. So these are all dumped on you here. U.S. owner must have a food safety system in place to verify that foreign suppliers have one. I can't hammer that into you enough. You got to make sure that they do their hazard analysis, have preventive controls, or what you need to make sure your suppliers have. Sanitation, including employee hygiene, is not under control. Typically occurs on farms and in distribution. You're going to hire an external auditor, right? Supplier verification. That looks bad. I would jump on them to get corrective action. Egg producers or hen producers. 117.475 means that you, the receiver, must document a written supply chain program, a Microsoft Access database, and keep all this data on record. What's the impact of all this? Let's talk about, I want to get into this third-party certification. They've got three main things to look at: the policy you're operating under, your procedures, and then evidence or proof of whether or not your policy and your procedures have been implemented according to your management's plan. Audit is a tool used to attempt to measure food safety. Got to go after biological, got to go after sampling. Has to be a set standard and not 50 different standards. There are some good things about audit. Change processes to eliminate special causes. It's a management problem. The primary purpose, positive fight of food safety audit. Tougher stances out of the drug and medical device people. Okay, accreditation bodies seeking recognition by the FBA, but I come under a set of rules by the accreditation body. Requirements for recognized accreditation body. Audit company is certified and works for a recognized accreditation body. So there's the certification bodies that hire the auditors. Okay, accreditation of third-party certification bodies conduct final food safety audit and to issue certificate. Why are there so many different food safety audit standards? They do it for money, okay? Bottom line, follow the money. Problems with food safety audits. There are conflicts of interest involved. Cost issues for audit. Audit body, they have to develop all these materials, training and preparation. On top of all this, I'm talking about this is the FDA standards, right? And I put this slide in. International standards is coming. Okay, the first set came out in 2005, establishes food safety management system. ISO comes along and wants to set one set of standards for everybody worldwide. All right, thanks for attending, folks, and hopefully it will help you. Well, thanks for attending and hope to see you at the next seminar.
Thank you, John. So that does conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.